What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Frankie Bones, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys the New York Yankees opening day update. This is Tuesday night that I'm recording this. This will be live on Wednesday afternoon, so hopefully you guys can get a listen before the game on Thursday afternoon for opening day. We're going to be talking about a couple of quick notes to wrap up spring training. I'm going to be giving you guys my opening day lineup. Obviously, Garrett Cole will be pitching, but I'll give you guys a full lineup, top to bottom, who's playing where. And then we're going to talk about the schedule for the upcoming 2 weeks here, the first 3 series that take us through the first week and a half of the season. Before we get started here, just want to say, if you guys are enjoying this Yankees content, or if you guys are new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe for more content throughout the season. And if you guys are enjoying, you guys can let me know by leaving a like on the video or commenting down below your thoughts on what I'm talking about in terms of the topics and what you guys think the Yankees are going to be able to accomplish this season. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, obviously, was the title of my last video. Anthony Volpe does make the opening day roster. This is what we were all hoping for after he shined very brightly in spring training. As an effect of this, Oswald Peraza will be starting in Triple-A. I still think very highly of Peraza, and defensively, I think he might be a tick better than Volpe, but offensively, Volpe's shown that he is ready for the big leagues, can handle the pitching, has the right mentality, obviously a great base runner, and he has flashed well with the glove, both at shortstop and second base. So we'll see what ends up happening with Peraza, but super happy that Volpe will be starting with the club. I think that's a big confidence booster for him. It's a big nod from the organization saying that he's ready, and I think that he's ready to set the world on fire. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is, unfortunately, another starting pitcher for the Yankees goes down by way of Luis Severino. Sevy is going to start the season on the IL due to a minor lat strain. This was an issue of his, I believe, last year in terms of coming back from Tommy John. I think he aggravated this, so we'll see what happens in terms of a timetable of how long he will be sidelined for. Again, they mentioned that it was a minor lat strain, so hopefully just a couple of weeks. Again, I have the same mentality that I've talked about in the first couple of videos. Take your time. It's very early in the season, and we'll talk about some of the options coming up here next, about guys that can fill in and are definitely ready to go to eat some innings and really make a strong impression to start the season. So, like I mentioned on our next note, one guy that got a spot on the opening day rotation that really impressed throughout the spring was Johnny Brito. He's going to be getting a spot in the rotation. Pitched really well this spring and actually capped off his spring training with a perfect 5 1/3 innings a couple days ago last week. So, incredibly strong performance from him. He does have great stuff. I believe he's the Yankees' 27th prospect. They've always liked his stuff, and it's just more in terms of translating into games and against major league hitters. He's shown throughout the spring that he's ready to sort of pick up the pieces where this rotation may be lacking at the beginning of the season, and ultimately he'll fit in at the end of the rotation alongside Clark Schmidt, who has had a great spring. Again, a lot of these guys are sort of hitting their peak at the end of spring training here. He had a really strong outing just the other day, as well as Domingo Germán, who was sort of slotted to be that 5th guy anyway. Definitely might be some other guys that come up to try and eat some innings early on. I know that there are a couple of days built in. We'll talk about the schedule, but a couple of rain days built in throughout the early part of the season to get makeup games in. So that'll definitely help the Yankees rotation in terms of limiting the innings and being able to keep guys on a pretty healthy schedule. The next thing I want to talk about is Josh Donaldson, who was a little disappointing last year in terms of the bat. At the beginning, he was doing pretty well, had some good pop, but towards the middle and end of the season was really struggling. Even making contact, it was just sort of really surprising from him. He had a lot of ground balls, which is something that he doesn't typically do. as a guy that really looks to launch the ball with backspin. He talks about that all the time. But this spring, I think that he came in. He did talk about some adjustments that he made in terms of with his stride. So you don't see as big of a leg kick that you would typically see, and with his hands. So I think these adjustments have definitely helped out. The power's still there for him. Obviously, he is a former MVP. He's a veteran. He definitely knows how to hit, but the older you get, it's a little bit about trying to reinvent yourself and continue the production, and hopefully these are some good signs for Donaldson. Obviously, he's on the hook for a fair amount of money this year, so if he's able to be a strong contributor, I think that would really help this team in a lot of ways, considering how good his glove is still at third base despite his age. And finally, the fifth thing that we're going to talk about sort of ties into what we were talking about with Donaldson, is where exactly do Gleyber Torres and IKF fit into the everyday lineup? So definitely an interesting question that we have to ask ourselves. If Donaldson is really rolling at third base, let's say he starts off the season strong, that takes away a spot. Obviously, the other guy rotating in there would be DJ LeMahieu, but DJ's going to hit. If DJ's healthy, that's what he does. He hits over 300. He's a strong run producer, and he's going to be the leadoff batter for the Yankees. And in that situation, Gleyber is kind of the odd man out. And ultimately, last year at the deadline, it sort of seemed like they had a deal in place with the Marlins to pick up one of the starting pitchers. I believe it was Pablo Lopez, who's now with the Twins. But ultimately, that fell through. And being in the last year of his arbitration, I think that it could be a good time to move on from Gleyber. Don't get me wrong, I do like Gleyber Torres. I think that over the years he's been a strong offensive contributor, and he's very much settled into his role at second base. Definitely an above average defender. He's fast, and I think he brings a little bit of culture to the team that they like. He fits in very well there, but ultimately just not sure exactly what his fit is going to be with this team. Obviously, injuries happen, guys go down. There will be days where Donaldson rotates out, DJ's over at third, and that's when Gleyber Torres will have an opportunity there, obviously. But talking about IKF as well, obviously Anthony Volpe is a young player, so they'll definitely try and work him in different situations. We saw him play second base as well, so there may be days where he plays second base as well. IKF will play short. We have heard throughout the spring, and we saw IKF playing center field. He even mentioned potentially putting on the gear. I don't imagine that would really happen. Obviously we have Higgy as the backup, so I think that was just more of an interesting baity kind of question. But ultimately, I think that IKF may even get some run in center field. Obviously, you don't want to have Aaron Judge playing center field all the time. There are definitely other guys that can do it. Hicks can play center field. We saw Cabrera play center. But we'll talk a little bit about that fit a little bit more as we get on here into the video, talking about the opening day lineup that I want to see and potentially what we might expect. So the lineup that I have for opening day really shouldn't be too much of a surprise, and I think that this is the best 9 guys that we can throw out there. Obviously, we have our ace on the mound in Garrett Cole, but leading off, that'll be the DH for the day. We have DJ LeMahieu batting second. We have Aaron Judge playing center field. In the 3 spot, we have Anthony Rizzo playing first. In the cleanup spot, we have Big G, Giancarlo Stanton, playing right field, which is something that we've talked about throughout the spring with him trying to get in the field and get more involved on this team defensively. In the 5 spot, we have Josh Donaldson playing third base. In the 6th spot, we have Gleyber Torres playing second base. In the 7th spot, we have Oswaldo Cabrera playing left field. In the 8th spot, we have Jose Trevino behind the dish. And batting ninth, we have Anthony Volpe playing short. And then obviously we have Garrett Cole taking the mound, and he'll be taking on Logan Webb. So ultimately, I think that this is the best squad that we can have out there for home games. They've talked about Stanton playing right field. That's mainly going to be for home games at Yankee Stadium. Obviously, you play just about half of your games there. Might potentially see him play left field in somewhere like Fenway Park, where you're backed up to the Green Monster, and other situations similar to that. But as a result of that, being able to get Big G out there in right field, we're going to have Judge covering up center for opening day with Oswaldo playing left. I think Hicks definitely could play left field here on Thursday afternoon, but I just love Oswaldo. I think personally this is the best lineup. Hicks has been struggling, particularly defensively as well, so that's sort of why I lean Oswaldo here in left. And Gleyber does have his spot at second base here for opening day, with DJ being DH, obviously in games where Stanton will be DHing. That's when it'll get interesting, when guys are shifting around. And we're also going to see a lot of off days. I think that was one of the strengths of the Yankees last year. We have a lot of guys that can rotate in, but we do have a lot of utility players on this team in terms of guys that can play multiple different positions. So we'll sort of see how everything trends with that throughout the season. Now, finally, to wrap up the video, just want to talk about the schedule for the first 2 weeks of the season. It'll be the first 3 series that encompass the first weekend as well as the first full week of the season. So to kick things off, we have a 3-game set against the Giants. Opening day will be Thursday, followed up with the conclusion of the series on Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully we have some nice weather. Not going to be able to make it up to the Bronx, unfortunately. Hopefully I'll be able to get there soon. But would love some good weather for opening weekend for baseball. Next, we are hosting the Phillies for a 3-game set. This will be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we have the off day on Friday, but again, got to get the guys into the swing, playing 6 out of 7 days a week for travel days. And obviously, as we get better and better weather, we're going to be playing just about every single day of the month. And to wrap up the end of our second week, we have a 3-game slate. We'll travel down to Baltimore to take on the Orioles with a similar schedule to the Giants. Game on Thursday, and then a game on Saturday and Sunday to wrap it up. So both Fridays are built-in rainout days. So potentially, depending on how the schedule lines up, could be seeing the schedule sort of flexed around, worked out, and sort of gives the opportunity, obviously, throughout the, most of the East Coast, I would say, and even throughout the U.S., a lot of rain in the spring. Obviously, April showers, May flowers, stuff like that, however that goes. But we'll see. I think ultimately for the Yankees, the goal here throughout the first week and a half, first thing, stay healthy. Let's rotate these guys in. Let's figure out exactly what this team has at the moment. Towards the end of April, hopefully we'll have Harrison Bader coming back in terms of the lineup. So he'll be able to solidify center field, and we'll get a better idea of how that outfield rotation will go and sort of function throughout the season. Obviously, we'll get pitchers back. Hopefully early May, we will have Rodon back. We're not sure exactly a timetable for Sevy, but we'll have to keep you guys updated as the season gets rolling and we get some more information on that. But overall, I'm incredibly excited for the season. If you guys saw my MLB Best Bets video, obviously I think the Yankees are pretty primed this year. If they're able to stay healthy and put themselves in a good spot heading down the stretch, maybe even make a move at the deadline. Obviously the Yankees have never shied away from making some additions where they see fit and to give themselves a great opportunity to make a run. Although it hasn't perfectly played out in the past few years, I think obviously this team is, a piece or two away depending on what our team looks like, as we approach the All-Star game, in terms of injuries and guys coming back and overall performance as well. So it'll be interesting to see. But again, I'm incredibly excited. Hopefully you guys are as well. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Again, if you are enjoying this Yankees content and you're looking for more of this in the future, please feel free to subscribe to the channel to get notifications for every time that I upload with updates for the Yankees. Shooting for 1 to 2 videos a week. Still trying to figure out exactly what schedule I want to go with. Obviously, there's going to be games just about every day, so I'm not sure if I want to do it on a weekly basis, on a series basis, we'll definitely figure that out. And let me know down in the comments down below if you guys have a preference, or again, if you're super excited for more content. But for now, that's going to do it for this video, guys. This has been your boy Frankie Bones, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace out.